the nation's fundamental problem. Newsman, after the meeting, restated his commitment to fight against corruption as being of national development. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Justice Walter Onogen, who was sworn in as substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria on the 7th of March this year, is meeting President Muhammadu Buhari for the first time since returning from his vacation in the United Kingdom.
I'm here to thank him also for the confidence reposed in me to head the judiciary of this great nation. And as I've always said, I'm committed to that job and to the good of this nation under the rule of law.
Details of their discussions held behind closed doors were not made public, but newsmen sought to know from Justice Walter Onogen his reaction to the belief in some quarters that the fight against corruption is losing steam as the nation's judiciary is not fully cooperating.
The fight against corruption has lost no steam. By the way our system is fashioned and designed and operates, when you go to a court of law, you cannot have a drawn game. There must be a winner and there must be a loser. In our system, the loser has the chance of appealing to the highest court eventually. So you can't say because the government or any agency has lost a case in the High Court, so he has lost the case and the fight is losing steam. You should realize that there is a constitution in place. And under the constitution, there is the rule of law.
It is on record that the federal government has recently lost several high-profile corruption cases in the law courts.
Do you have anything different you want to add in the fight against corruption in this country?
No. Personally, I am committed to that fight, and it remains so. I remain resolute. I remain resolute in that commitment.
The 65-year-old Justice Walter Onogen is the 15th indigenous Chief Justice of Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And now to some judicial matters. The arraignment of former Benue State Governor Gabriel Suswan and two others before the Federal High Court, Abuja, was stalled due to the absence of former Governor Gabriel Suswan in court. A Dino Justice reports that a new date has been fixed for the arraignment.
When the case came up before Justice Kolaole for mentioning, the State Counsel Aminu Kayode Aliyu told the court that the first defendant, Gabriel Suswan, who is in the custody of the Department of State Service, refused to be served with court summons and that they only served his representatives. In objecting, counsel to Gabriel Suswan, Adedayo Adedeji, said his client, who is in the custody of the sister agency, DSS, ought to be served personally, stressing that this is a fresh case for which he has the right to select other counsel. He said the appearance in court was a protest appearance and that they only represented the former governor in another case. Justice Gabriel Kolaole adjourned the arraignment to another date and ordered that the defendant be personally served and be brought to court by the DSS.
An order of court that he should appear. He should be served personally with a copy of the charge, which we earlier did, but he refused. But it's coming by the order of the Honorable Court now. So we believe on the 11th of May, they will be present and the arraignment will take place.
And as you rightly noted in court, he has been in the DSS custody since the 25th of February. And the prosecutor is the federal government. And the DSS is also the agent, or is also an agent of the federal government. So you cannot be saying that he has refused to accept service. No, because, of course, he is still within the custody of the federal government.
Though the charges had not been read, police is prosecuting Gabriel Suswan for alleged money laundering, advance fee fraud, and illegal possession of arms.
The court ordered that the arraignment be adjourned till the 11th of May until the court processes are served on the first respondent, along with court enrollment order. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, Dino Justice, NTA News.
Away from judiciary matters now, the federal government has called on Nigerians not to be discouraged by the recent setbacks in the war against corruption, promising that the serial negative outcome of corruption cases that were recorded at the High Court level would not dampen anti-graft battle. A statement by the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said Nigerians have been assured that the federal government that all judgments are being rigorously reviewed to determine whether there are errors on the part of government or whether the government is the victim of mischief. He maintained that the war against corruption is going to be long, tough, and others, but this administration is equipped physically, mentally, and intellectually for the long haul with determination to win the war, nothing that the law is on the side of the people. Lai Mohammed stressed that the war is only beginning, so any setback will not deter or discourage governments. He, however, appealed to Nigerians to continue to identify with what he described as titanic struggle, noting that it is not President Muhammadu Buhari's war, it is Nigeria's war of liberation from poverty, misery, sickness and wretchedness. Lai Mohammed added that Nigeria cannot afford unnecessary technicalities as far as the war against corruption is concerned, especially because of the adverse and devastating consequences of corruption on the polity. The government is therefore more determined than ever to recover as much of these plundered funds as possible and use them to put the nation's youth back to work, fix roads and other infrastructure, equip hospitals and universities, and invest in electricity in order to bring industries back to life and bring back some level of comfort at home and offices. And now to the legislature. The Senate has mediated its committee on judiciary, human rights and legal matters to liaise with the National Judicial Council and other relevant agencies to withdraw copies of different versions of the Nigerian Constitution in circulation. The decision followed a motion by Senator Chukwuka Utazi Enugu North, who noted that having gone through the 3 successful alterations,
this is a concern that the existence of various versions of the Constitution makes it an unreliable source of law, weights down its force as the fundamental authority for all laws in Nigeria, and does not make for certainty of its provisions, dilutes its potency in the hierarchy of laws, and makes it susceptible to misinterpretation by mischief makers who want to take advantage of the situation.
Chairman Judiciary, just to ensure that this thing is tidied up, I think it's all largely the administration of where different versions are being printed. I think if we sit down, work with both the Attorney General and all the central government, let's try and ensure that, we have one authentic constitution in circulation. Thank you.
The Senate also considered the request of President Muhammadu Buhari's confirmation of 3 nominees for appointment of ministers of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. The House of Representatives has passed for third reading a bill for an act to establish the National Transport Commission. Ignatius Nko has more on this bill.
The National Transport Commission bill, if you ask me, I will say this is one of the bills in the 8th Assembly that attracted wider participation of stakeholders, especially during the public hearing. Well, this commission, an independent commission, is expected to source for funds for maintenance and construction of roads across the country. Representative Nicholas Asai is the sponsor of that bill. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ignatius.
Can you tell us succinctly what that bill seeks to achieve?
I think the transport sector has not been regulated over the years, unlike as it's done in the Western world. It's like a bill that you have when we enacted NCC to regulate the communication sectors. And that's what we're doing now, to regulate the transport sectors, especially mostly in marine and lands. Marine and land transport system to be well regulated, because already the aviation industry has been regulated already. So aviation is not part of it.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, always.
Well, at today's plenary, the House has also resolved to investigate the recent outbreak of epidemics that killed 3 students at Queen's College, Lagos. That motion was moved by the House leader, Femi Gbajabiamila.
The House Committee on Federal Territory Area Councils and Ancillary Matters has urged the Federal Capital Territory Development Agency to expedite action in resettling the remaining indigenous communities in the satellite development areas so as to give way for development of Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunle reports that this was during its oversight function to some sites in the FCT.
It has been observed that strategic areas earmarked for rapid development of the capital city are still being occupied by original inhabitants. This situation of things has over the years delayed the infrastructural developments of those areas fundamentally needed for their rapid integration into the modern city structure of the capital city, both at the center and at the satellite areas. This perhaps presupposes the oversight of the House Committee on FCT Area Councils and Ancillary Matters, which has this mandate with a view to ascertaining level of progress and ensuring that the physical development of Abuja is carried out in line with the provisions in the master plan. Representatives of the FCTA and the Satellite Town Development Agency expressed commitments to the speedy development of the resettlement sites.
Second issue is the Wasa resettlement. Proposed houses are there, no infrastructures, no road, and so many, even no water. So you cannot just move people without these infrastructures. We have asked the FCT to look into the matter so that we can report back to the House.
The chairman of the committee added that a public hearing will be convened to give community representatives an opportunity to speak their minds and determine how much has been expended in the scheme. In Abuja, Dennis Adignoye, NTA News.
And away from the legislature, the federal government has taken steps to address the house deficit in the country in line with the National Housing Program of the present administration. Minister of State Power and Housing, Mustafa Baba, says this while inspecting the progress of mass housing projects in Lafia. Victoria Ojito completes the report.
Nigeria has housing deficit of 16 to 17 million. The development which the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has rolled out its first set of housing units across the country under the National Housing Program. So far, the projects are carried out simultaneously in each state of the Federation with the completion period of 5 months. While inspecting the 76 units of houses under construction in Lafia, Nasarawa State, the Minister of State, Power Works and Housing, Mustafa Baba Shehuri, said as part of government's commitment to provide shelter, government has directed Federal Mortgage Bank to waive payment of 10% equity on mortgages below 5 million naira.
You know, the lifespan for the project is only 5 months, and I think in the next 2 months, you'll be through with most of these houses.
While in Nasarawa State, the minister met with the Nasarawa State Deputy Governor Silas Agara and seek for partnership between the federal and state government to meet the housing needs of the people.
It will be good in the future development of mass housing projects so that we can collaborate, we can provide certain technical advice to your supervisors, to your engineers, and future construction.
In Lafia, Victoria Kaswa Ojito, NTA News.
The Kano State government has donated 16 operational vehicles to the Nigerian Army. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, while presenting the vehicle documents to the Commander 3 Brigade, Kano stressed the need for Nigerians to appreciate the support the present administration's efforts towards combating insurgency. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
Side by side their successful operations to end insurgency in the northeast, officers and men of the Nigerian Army have played a vital role in ridding the Falgore forest in the southern part of Kano State of cattle rustlers and kidnappers. To consolidate on this success story, the state government is working closely with the Army High Command towards establishing a military base in the forest and ensure adequate surveillance of all flash points. This informs the donation of 16 brand new operational vehicles to the 3 Brigade Kano after refurbishing 12 existing vans and buses of the formation. The idea Governor Ganduje, who presented the vehicles documents to the brigade commander, said is to also complement the support being given to the Nigerian Armed Forces by the Buhari's administration.
So our presentation of these vehicles is a calculated attempt in order to improve the security situation in the state. And I believe the vehicles will be utilized judiciously.
The Commander, 3 Brigade Nigerian Army Kano, Brigadier General Olufemi Tunde Akinjobi, described the gesture as a moral booster. He also assured of judicious use and adequate maintenance of the vehicles. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonna Onu, has commended the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry for its decision to organize Information and Communication Technology Expo for the promotion of science, technology, innovation and entrepreneurship. This was at a meeting with the leadership of Specialized Exhibition Committee of Chambers. Science correspondent Kirian Umeayo reports.
The planned expo is designed to encourage startups in technology business and share their technology ideas, take holistic view of the new era in banking, which has to do with big data cloud and mobility, response to cyber threat and other evolving threats in a connected world.
All that the nation requires now is to encourage science and technology. Because once we do that, many of the problems we have, whether it's in being able to feed ourselves or in being able to produce many of the things we need, I mean, it doesn't make sense that a country like Nigeria should be importing virtually everything that we need. It shouldn't happen at all. The expo has shown that, you know, we can solve that problem.
Leader of the delegation and chairperson of Specialized Exhibition Committee of the Lagos Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Mrs. Tola Boboade, made it clear that the objective of the expo is to leverage on information and communication technology business concepts.
The other things we're doing during the expo is, one, the pitch theater. The pitch theater is an avenue where startups would come and talk about their ideas, what they're doing, what new technology idea they have, and pitch it to venture capitalists, investors, governments, and anybody who is interested. And the winner would be assisted to develop.
The ICT Expo will take place in July this year. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
Against the backdrop of government's desire to establish modular refineries in the Niger Delta region, guest on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria, says the idea is a welcome development. Timothy Yusuf tells us more.
Petroleum exploration and refining in Nigeria has been characterized by a lot of challenges ranging from militancy, pipelines vandalism and illegal refining. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, at one of the engagements with the Niger Delta people, said the modular refineries to be established will have to be profitable and realistic in order to address critical issues bordering on the development of the region on a sustainable basis.
What we are talking about today is not just a relationship between the federal government and the oil-producing communities. Everybody who is concerned with oil production, whether as producers or beneficiaries one way or the other, is involved in creating this new vision and this new company.
Over the years, various governments have come up with different policies and programs, including the Presidential Amnesty Program, among others, aimed at addressing the challenges of the region. Guests on the program said the establishment of the modular refineries will bring to an end the lingering problems of restiveness, pipeline vandalism, illegal refineries and environmental degradation bedeviling the region.
And what government is doing now is a welcome development, and I think all the community people should embrace it. The states should embrace this, because what this will stop is the environmental hazards we are going through. Government is spending so much money in the Ogoni cleanup.
Whichever way we look at it, it will be useful, it will help in resolving the energy crisis in Nigeria and beyond, and it will be good for Nigeria.
However, an oil and gas analyst, Sonia Tuma, believes that the emphasis should be on resuscitating the existing complex refineries with community participation. A former president of the Ijaw Youth Council, Chris Ekie, was sure that establishment of modular refineries would complement the larger ones in no small measure.
I am not against it, but we are saying, look, let us be a bit more organized about it. Because when you talk about modular, look at the aspect of financing. Who is financing? We have not been able to talk about that.
It's a win-win. It doesn't mean that it's only Niger Delta people that must own the modular refinery in the Niger Delta. Any investor, even from Karana Moda, even from Niger, if you come in and sit with the community and put your template down, and community is part of the process, you set up a refinery.
Professor Chiojoke Nwozuzu of the Emerald Energy Institute, University of Port Harcourt, noted that modular refineries take 18 to 20 months to fabricate, quicker to install and cheaper in terms of costing.
there are always spin-off business activities around such plants, like transport, restaurants, hotels, and the rest. So those are where the jobs are created.
The federal government, in its new vision for the Niger Delta region, is considering the idea of establishing community-based modular refineries to replace illegal refineries. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Bureau de Change meets to tackle Naira fall. Jennifer in Lagos brings us details of this meeting and other reports making the rounds in Lagos. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jide. Good evening. Welcome to Lagos. The Minister of State for Agriculture, Henikin Lokpogri, has announced that the federal government is working in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance to recapitalize the Bank of Agriculture to the tune of 1 trillion naira. This is to enable farmers in the country to access loan at affordable interest rate to boost agricultural activities. He made this known at the inauguration of the fish farm at Oyo Dam in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Vera Chimuba has more.
The federal government policy thrust in promoting agriculture and self-sufficiency in fish production to close the demand and supply gap is yielding positive result with the inaugural harvest of a fish farm. Minister of State for Agriculture, Henikin Lokpogri, who lamented the commercial bank's unwillingness to fund agriculture due to excessive charges, noted that funding remains one of the biggest challenges facing farmers. This, he emphasized, informed the move by the federal government to recapitalize the Bank of Agriculture to boost the sector. The minister, who puts the country's fish demand at 3.1 trillion metric tons and produces 1.1 metric tons per annum, leaving a deficit of 2.1 metric tons, said the federal government is committed to closing the gap through its fishery policy. Lokpogri also acknowledged the significant improvement in fish production since the inception of this administration, which rose from mere 800,000 metric tons to 1.1 metric tons per annum.
Just last week, federal government, approved $1.2 billion to be raised by the Minister of Finance to capitalize the Development Bank of Nigeria. We are working, with the Rabo Bank of Netherlands for the Bank of Agriculture, which is a specialized bank for agriculture, to be able to lend to prospective, farmers.
Former head of state, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, called for creation of an enabling environment for investors to invest in agriculture. He suggested outgrower scheme to ease transfer of technology and to create employment opportunities for the youths.
Unless we want to waste money, the public sector should not be in the production. The public sector should be in mobilizing, in encouraging.
In Lagos, Vera Chimuba, NTA News.
Now, Lagos State government has announced its intention to introduce a compulsory insurance policy on all buildings in the state as part of measures to provide a soft landing for house owners in time of disaster. This was disclosed at a press briefing organized by the Lagos State Safety Commission in collaboration with Niger Safe Awards. Victoria Olabode completes the story.
The Director General of Lagos State Safety Commission, Honorable Hakeem Dixie, said as a proactive agency, the Commission is concerned with the lives of Lagos residents, both at workplace and at home. He added that the agency will collaborate with private sector to put necessary safety measures in place for protection of lives and property, hence the plan to introduce building insurance policy.
It has been in the law since 2003, and only motor vehicle is the only one that has been enforced. What we're saying is, if it happens to you, don't cry. Save your money. Let your investment be your investment. Let somebody else take care of that bill for you.
It's not good for a family breadwinner to go to work in the morning and then come back home. For the government, like Lagos State, to take care of all its workers and sundry, I think it's the best one can ever hope for.
The policy, apart from creating a soft landing for property owners in the state in case of disaster, will also ensure the implementation and standardization of strict safety compliance to raise safety consciousness at private and public places. In Lagos, Victoria Olabode.
Watching Nationwide News on the NTA Network service. Time to go back to Olajide for more on Nationwide News. Olajide, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, there from our Lagos Network Center. Moving on, Nasarawa State government is to commence payment of gratuities and death benefits to pensioners in the state. Joshua Ojito reports that widows and widowers, the sick and aged, as well as persons living with disabilities will benefit from the first batch of the disbursement.
300 million naira has been approved by the state governor Umaru Tanko Al-Mukura to clear backlog of gratuities and death benefits to retirees and families of deceased civil servants in the state. Head of Civil Service in the state, Thomas Ari Ogri, explained that the amount was sourced from the remittance of Paris Club accrued to the state. He said to ensure the success of the disbursement, the state government constituted a committee to commence the payment immediately.
The times are hard, but because of the austere times, His Excellency's magnanimity may not be a routine thing. But he has assured that this gesture will be once on quarterly basis to alleviate the hardship faced by our retired veterans whose service to our state are unquantifiable.
The head of civil service in the state restated the commitment of the state government to address the plight of pensioners and other workers in the state. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
The Director General National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Sulaiman Kazaure, says scheduled officers must adopt global standards in the selection process for NYSC Honors Awards. He said this at a national training for the officers in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports.
Brigadier General Kazaure noted that the quality of the process for selection of NYSC Honors Award recipients over the years has progressively diminished due to poor handling by the scheduled officers. This, he said, has therefore become imperative to organize the training, which aims at equipping citation writers. He believes that the training will stimulate aptitude and sharpen the skills of the officers and avail them the opportunity to key into global best practices.
Harmonize the system of providing adequate input on core members' projects from the local government level to the final selection of award winners.
The training is a direct response to the challenges observed during the 2016 National Selection Committee meeting. A total of 85 scheduled officers drawn from the 36 states of the country and the FCT are participating in the training with the theme Enhancing the Capacities of Citation Writers. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
About 600 cleared Boko Haram suspects handed over to Borno State government. Let's get details of these and other stories from Mohammed in Maiduguri Center. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, Olajide. Welcome to Maiduguri. Nigerian military has cleared and handed over about 600 Boko Haram suspects to the Borno State government who are to undergo psychosocial rehabilitation. Memina Garba reports that the cleared persons are being kept at the State Rehabilitation Center, Bulunkutu in Maiduguri.
Those released are suspects apprehended by the military who have been profiled at the Joint Investigation Center and found not to be involved in any form of criminality. This handover to Borno State government was in accordance with the directive of the Chief of Army Staff, which stipulates that all persons arrested by the military should not be detained longer than necessary. Theater Commander Operation Lafia Dole, represented by Brigadier General Abdurrahman Kulia, said Nigerian Army will continue to release cleared suspects for rehabilitation.
It is in fulfillment of that his promise that he has approved the release of the first batch of those who have been investigated and cleared. The number totals about 593 that we have in the first batch, and he has approved their handover to the state government for further psychosocial rehabilitation and then reuniting them back to their families and their respective local government authorities.
Receiving the cleared suspect on behalf of the Borno State government, Director of the Rehabilitation Center, Ladi Clark Musa, said adequate provision has been made to cater for their needs, describing the atmosphere at the center as conducive for rehabilitation. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
A total of 17,000 pupils from 30 primary schools are to receive instructional materials from the Victim Support Fund. This came up during the distribution of the items in Kaga local government area of Borno State. Amina Fidi Ahmadu has the details.
As part of effort to rebuild lives and restore hope to victims and areas ravaged by insurgency, the Victim Support Fund had earlier presented instructional materials to 20,000 pupils in MMC and Jiri local government areas, and now some students in Benishek town of Kaga local government council also benefited from a similar gesture. Borno State Governor Kashi Shettima, represented by Permanent Secretary Ministry for Education, Hassan Mustafa Aminani said VSF has been of tremendous assistance to the people of the state. Professor Sunday Ochoche then urged parents and teachers to ensure that the pupils make good use of the books, hoping it will raise the standard of education in the state.
It's so domesticated, it was known now that working closely with the people and government of Borno State in this whole journey of recovery and reconstruction from the terrible impact of the Boko Haram insurgency. For the
2016-2017, Victim Support Fund is targeting about 6 local government areas of Gubio, Chibok, Askira Uba, Konduga, Magumeri, and Kaga. The theme for the educational support project is facilitating learning and access to education for school-age children affected by the insurgency. In Maiduguri, Amina Fidi Ahmadu, NTA News.
Health practitioners are advocating for the integration of inactivated polio vaccine into routine immunization exercises following the reemergence of wild polio virus in Borno State. This came to the fore at a workshop for health workers in Maiduguri. Lami Ali reports.
The re-emergence of wild polio virus in Borno State in August 2016 was a disturbing development, especially for health practitioners, as the World Health Organization had earlier declared Nigeria polio-free. This workshop seeks to promote routine immunization services with specific emphasis on integration of inactivated polio vaccine. Unlike the oral polio vaccine administered by health workers and volunteers, the inactivated polio vaccine, certified as more effective, is administered with injection.
The story of 4 cases of polio in Borno, and the importance attached to the activated polio virus, I think there's no greater time and place than now.
In their contributions, representative of the National President's Pediatrics Association of Nigeria, Dr. Mohammed Saad, Borno State Immunization Officer Maina Modu, and Professor Adamu Rabasa urged stakeholders to embrace the use of inactivated polio vaccine for routine immunization, considering its advantages in total eradication of wild polio virus. In Maiduguri, Lami Ali, NTA News.
That's the size of our contribution. Nationwide continues in Abuja.
And you can watch these news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's pause now for some messages. The news continues shortly.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Restoring growth, investing in people, and driving competition. Recipes for a strong economy. This is the focus on this week's edition of Tuesday Live, Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2020. What are those strategies? Tuesday Live, educative, informative and incisive. A must watch.
Jesus in the west, Jesus in the north and the south.
Hello, I'm Cyril Stober. Let me introduce you to my colleague, incisive reporter and vibrant minister of gospel music, Saint Ruben Okada. In the newsroom, we call him the Saint.
Yes. Everywhere you go.
I'd like to invite you to the public presentation of Breaking News. That's a music album by Saint Ruben Okada.
Everywhere you go. Praise be to God.
And it's all taking place on Saturday, the 29th of April, 2017, at the Cultural Center, Area 10, Abuja. It's at 4 o'clock in the evening. See you there.
The government sends you to catch a thief, and you catch security man.
Can we see your hawker's permit?
Me, I no go pay for any hawker permit because I know they do a hawker.
They send you to say letter A, and you go and say letters A, B, C, D, E.
The signboard that bears the name of your hotel at the entrance of the street must be paid for.
Why? Is it your father's land?
Are you doing your work well by being overzealous, adding fear and hardship to the citizens, molesting them unlawfully? Tax and revenue is another hilarious episode of your rib-cracking comedy. Professor John Bull. Government agents overdo tax laws. Citizens are ignorant of tax laws.
This is idiosyncratic and heterodox.
Yeah.
Showing at 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on NTA Network International and Star Times.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
Welcome to the new speed of life.
This is television reborn. Enjoy more than 200 channels. No decoder needed. The real digital TV is here. Star Times Digital TVs.
With Star Times, you're always a step higher. With hype, non-stop entertainment. Watch telenovelas that will keep you glued to your seat on Star Times Novella E1. It's action time for mind-blowing moves that you can only see on Star Times Kung Fu. With E! Entertainment, keep up with Hollywood celebrities' hot gossip. Question no more. IDX got y'all as they reveal the untold. Any day is fun day after school for your kids on Pop. Enjoy your favorite Indian shows in 8 different languages on Star Times Bollywood. Your health, your life. Keep it locked on Star Times Sports Life for tips. Pay 1 month basic bouquet and get 7 days of classic bouquet for free. Subscribe now. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Being a mother is a lot of work. Being a caring mother is a daily task. To have a healthy mother and child, you need all the help you can get. Whatever your health concern is, a mother or child, join us on Mother Care on this station at this time. Because we always say, being a mom, it's the best job in the world.
NTA Television College Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, has maintained her reputation of putting together courses that are highly relevant to manpower needs of the broadcast industry. The college has put together 3 core courses for 4 weeks on computer networking for television for the engineers in the broadcast industry. Date 17th April to 12th May 2017. Registration fee 80,000 naira with accommodation. Also, a 4 weeks course on English grammar and pronunciation for broadcasters, presenters, scriptwriters, news editors, journalists and master compares. Date 22nd May to 16th June 2017. Registration fee 80,000 naira with accommodation. TV College also has a 4 weeks course on specialized reporting to cater for those that want to learn the skills of reporting from judiciary, crime, conflict zones, environment, business, natural disasters, politics and health. The course will teach you the ways to write and handle stories with peculiar situations. Registration fee 80,000 naira with with accommodation. Date 19th June to 14th July 2017. Venue of all courses will take place at NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, contact us on 0806 980 9807 0703 660 7155 or email us at ntacollege@gmail.com. NTA Television College, Jos, training you to be the best you can be.
Many thanks for being there, and if you're just joining us, this is NTA Nationwide and the network service of the NTA. Governor Obaseki flags off agripreneurship scheme. We now join Obehi in Benin Network Center for these and more from that zone. Obehi, it's over to you.
Thank you, Olajide. Welcome to Benin. Governor Godwin Obaseki says the ongoing agricultural resolution in Edo State will provide employment and boost food security in the state. The governor stated this when he flagged off the Edo State Agripreneurship Program at Sobe in Owan West local government area. Good luck, Enani reports.
The 1,000 hectares of land secured and prepared by the state government for the takeoff of the program in Sobe is part of the over 20 million cultivable land available for agricultural practice in Edo State.
We spoke with Benin Wena Basin Authority, and they've shown us some of the pieces of land they have, and we're going to go into collaboration with them to make sure we make those pieces of land properties available. The idea is to make sure that we have a minimum of 1,000 hectares in every local government.
The chairman, Agric Ad Hoc Committee, Chief Osaroida, says government will explore all avenues to sustain the initiative.
We are creating jobs for them, we are creating employment, we are creating food for them, we are making money for them.
For the farmers, the gesture is a dream come true.
We are ready at any point in time to work for government.
Pray to God that God should assist the government in his, to keep his promise.
The launching of the Edo State Agripreneurship Program is one of the initiatives of the Obaseki-led administration to boost food production and generate employment for the states. Observers say the initiative should be encouraged in order to make Edo State #1 in food production in Nigeria. From Sobe, I am Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa is the winner of the 2017 Mandela Medal for a Long Walk to Freedom and the prestigious Pride of Africa Award. This is in recognition of his efforts to reduce unemployment through a number of his employment and skills acquisition program. Ifeoma Okafo reports.
The inception of the Okowa-led administration, over 20,000 private sector jobs have been created through the skill acquisition program. The State Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency has been restructured to be more responsive to the needs and aspirations of the underprivileged.
And your spectacular achievement, which has so far served in Nigeria as a shining example to whosoever aspires to leadership position.
Oh, this is
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa said he is committed to driving an inclusive economic growth through the development of non-oil sectors.
There is no doubt that in Africa, particularly Nigeria, including Abia states, that the evils of poverty and underdevelopment that is in the land needs to be addressed. We must continue to play the very little roles that we can consistently and stay focused on the goal.
He's the first governor in Nigeria to be honored with the Pride of Africa and the Mandela Medal for a Long Walk to Freedom Award. In Asaba, Ifeoma Okafo, NTA News.
The death has occurred of Justice Frank Nwulu. Until his death, he was a retired justice of Delta State High Court. The Chief Judge of Delta State, Justice Marshall Umukoro, led a team of 15 judges and other members of the state judiciary on a condolence visit to his widow, Hilda Nwulu, and the rest of the family. Rosemary Omani reports.
The late icon, Justice Frank Nwulu, who hails from Idumujuboko in Anyocha North local government area of Delta State, died on the 29th of March 2017. The deceased, who was described as an incorruptible judge, was appointed a Delta State judge in 1991 and served the state and country in various capacities.
He was a role model for many husbands. In fact, if he was here now, would that be coming from that way or somewhere? Mama, you stood by him, and you are a good example of those precious women in the Bible.
A nephew to late Justice Mulu, Diokpa Felix Enoyibo, describing the exit of as a glorious one, thanked the CJ and his entourage for the visit. Late Justice Frank Mulu, who died at the age of 87, is survived by 6 children, amongst whom is an Assistant Director News, NTA Port Harcourt Network Center, Cordelia Okwoma.
Daddy was not just my father, he was my best friend, my confidant. I'm really going to miss him.
In Asaba, I am Rosemary Omani, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Lajide, it's over to you now for the rest of Nationwide News.
Moving on now, investigation into the $17 billion stolen from undeclared crude oil and liquefied natural gas has commenced in earnest by the House of Representatives ad hoc committee. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
The House Ad Hoc Committee has the mandate to investigate the financial losses put at $17 billion in the oil and gas sector from January 2011 to December 2014. Relevant authorities had reported alleged sharp practices and financial impropriety in the sector by government agencies and some international oil companies operating in the country. NNPC, EFCC, Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, Central Bank of Nigeria, DPR, and some other relevant stakeholders are expected to appear at the public hearing. In a message to the committee, Speaker Yakubu Dogara, represented by the Minority Whip, regretted the financial leakages in the sector, which is responsible for the present economic recession, and expressed the resolve of the National Assembly in the fight against corruption and sustenance of good governance. The ad hoc committee chairman, Abdulrazak Namdas, decried the non-appearance of major players in the industry at the investigative hearing and stood it down for Tuesday, the 11th of April 2017.
This government is fighting corruption. It's a very serious business. And in the legislative arm, we have promised as part of our 8th legislative agenda to actually support this government to fight corruption. And we accept government agencies should also complement the government by doing the needful.
Meanwhile, the House Ad Hoc Committee investigating cash paid to government officials annually by insurance companies, mandated to insure government fixed and non-fixed assets by way of return on premium, says it has established various infractions by some of the insurance companies involved in the contracts between 2013 and 2015.
We've established clearly that some persons and businesses, maybe they never thought a day like this would come when somebody who asks questions just didn't do things right. And that's what this other committee's mandate is very clearly to establish.
The ad hoc committee maintained it will trace all financial movements in all transactions involving the insurance companies. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Enugu State House of Assembly declares a state of emergency on Enugu Electricity Distribution Company. Let's join Beauty in our Enugu Network Center for these and more reports from that axis. Beauty, it's over to you.
Good day to you, Olajide, and a very warm welcome to Enugu. The Enugu State House of Assembly has declared a state of emergency on the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC, calling that the company vacates the state forthwith. This followed a motion of urgent public importance moved by member Chedu Nwamba. Susan Eze reports that the House had an emergency sitting response to the urgency of the matter.
The motion, which is a call for help from Chinedu Nwamba, representing Nsukka East constituency, to save the people of Enugu State from what he termed the agony of inflated bills, by the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company was unanimously supported by all members of the House. The visibly vexed legislators decry the burden of estimated bills on the people and the delay in the delivery of prepaid meters to those who have paid for them. Members also condemned the alleged disparity in billing system where people in Enugu pay higher than those in other parts of the country, and this, they say, is negatively affecting businesses in the state.
The cost of a unit of electricity in Abuja is 24 naira 30 kobo, whereas the cost of the unit of electricity in Enugu State as it stands now is 34 naira 80 kobo. After exhausting all my bills, I'm paid extra. What I'm seeing today is 22,000 naira. And again, I'm looking at the bill again, I see arrears of 10,000 naira. Please, tell me where arrears come from when I'm not exhausting all my bills.
Besides declaring state of emergency on EEDC, the House urged the state government to liaise with the National Electricity Regulatory Commission to validate the quality of meters being supplied to the people, among other things. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
In line with its regulatory control and drive for national food safety, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has raided the Ogbaru Relief Market near Onitsha, Anambra State, arresting 8 suspects, including a nursing mother, over her alleged involvement in the production and sale of fake alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink. Maureen Ezeokeke now reports.
The agency, while conducting the raid at the relief market, confiscated about 3 Hilux truckload of adulterated drinks and some production materials worth millions of naira. The NAFDAC officials also sealed 3 shops used for the production, sale and printing of fake labels and cartons for the products. Parading the suspects, the Assistant Director Investigations and Enforcement NAFDAC Lagos, Mr. Wahid Abuola, who wondered why production of such is done in a market, expressed displeasure over the unhygienic production environment, considering the health hazard inherent.
We entered shops, we saw packaging materials, we saw people, we saw production materials, and we destroyed them. So very successful.
The Chief Regulatory Officer, Enforcement and Investigation Directorate of the agency in Lagos, Mr. Hassan Tanko, called for collaborative efforts of the market leadership and NAFDAC to ensure that counterfeiting is nipped in the bud for national safety.
The management of the market are not being fair to Nigeria. My advice will never be you take this alcoholic beverage. Every other family take this alcoholic beverage. And you saw them doing what they've been doing, and yet you kept it to yourself. I think you are unfair to humanity, you are unfair to your personal self.
The agency officials maintained that NAFDAC will not relent in its sensitization drive against unwholesome practices, and the faulter will be made to face the wrath of the law. In Onitsha, Maureen Ezeokeke, NTA News.
Nigerians have again been adjourned to pray for their leaders for wisdom and progress. The appeal was made at a 3-day special prayer session organized by the Muslims in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Jude Obera will tell us more.
The 3-day prayer session was aimed at interceding for the President Muhammadu Buhari and other Nigerian leaders for God to grant them wisdom and good health to pilot the affairs of the country. Some Muslim clerics who participated in prayer sessions speak.
The purpose of the prayer is for peace in Nigeria, for God to continue guiding our President Muhammadu Buhari.
Nigeria, who have love of this country, Nigeria, is supposed to be praying for this country for better.
The essence of the prayer for 3 days is for Nigeria and our leaders. Give them good brain, wisdom, give them our President Buhari good health.
They pray for Nigerian group on tour of the states in 6 geopolitical zones of the country, praying and interceding for the country and her leaders. The prayer, which was said in the 3 major Nigerian languages, attracted security chief, traditional ruler, Muslims, faithful, and clerics. From Central Mosque, Owerri, Chudobiora, NTA News.
And that's a beat here in Enugu. Olajide is back to you for the rest of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Beauty. And moving on. South Africa's former president, Thabo Mbeki, lends voice in calls for President Jacob Zuma's ousting. An explosion at a police headquarters in Turkish Kurdish city leaves 4 persons injured. Visit more on Global Tidbits with Chimdema Ndubisi.
South Africa's ex-president Thabo Mbeki has joined